Today we're joined with Sean Russell, head coach at Minion Training Center.
I'm gonna get deep here. For a second. All right, is that cool?
That's cool, bro.
Okay, all right.
Wait, pause for a
Stop, Joe. Stop.
What's your worst weight cut you've ever done?
From the perspective of the crowd and stuff,
Right.
bro, you're talking 50,000 people
That's
are there
wild.
watching you wrestle. The crowd is electric. It's like if you're gonna lose wrestling the way you want to wrestle.
Why Minion Training Center? For people.
Which Euro truck is that? That's been puzzling me.
Which one?
The orange
Right
guy?
here.
That's me. Why is that funny?
I don't know. It's just like doesn't look like any of you guys.
That looks like me. No?
He looks like just stupid, bro.
Looks like an NPC. Guy's got no
No
muscle,
drip.
Like
That was
same
old, man.
frame from ankles up to his neck.
That's old
Dog. Oh, we put the other belt up there? Bro, look at it.
I didn't do that. I think Dad did that.
Drip.
Drip. Where?
The-
Where's drip?
Over there.
Yeah.
Long socks.
Those are the Mario socks. You remember those? Mario and Luigi?
That's swag. One red, one green. Mario, Luigi.
Yeah, Caleb had the other Mario and Luigi.
That's dope.
Yeah. Smash Brothers.
What?
Smash Bros.
All right, you want? I'll start off.
Yeah.
All right.
Whatever you want. I mean, we're rolling. Go ahead.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode. Today we're joined with Sean Russell, head coach at Minion Training Center. For those of you guys that don't know, he wrestled all throughout his life, obviously. He wrestled at Edinburgh and then where he was an All-American, placed 7th at the NCAA tournament, and now he wrestled in Minnesota and then wrestled a little more on the senior level, and now he came back to chat and is giving back to the people down south. So, yeah, good to have you, man.
Heck yeah, man. Appreciate it, boys. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Of course.
Yeah. First off, why did you come back down to chat?
Yeah, man. So I always knew I wanted to coach, right? I always knew I wanted to get into coaching. And it just kind of worked out good where my last tournament was Olympic trials in 2021. And about 3 months before that, I got a phone call from Shane Chittum about possibly coming down to Chattanooga and opening up a club. And then right around that same time, I got a phone call from Kyle Rochelle asking if I'd possibly want to be RTC coach at UTC. And with that offer, it just seemed like, wow, I'm going to get to coach college and I'm going to get to run a club, which had been my lifelong dream, is like having the number one club in the country is what I wanted to do since I was probably 8 or 9 years old. And trading for Olympic trials, I started feeling like, you know, this might be my last tournament, or like I'm getting towards the end of, it's not about wrestling that you kind of get tired of doing. It's like doing all the little things right all the time. I was starting to get to a point where I was like, I want to enjoy my life. I've made all these sacrifices, and they've all been worth it, and I would do them all over again. But, you know, I do want to enjoy my family. Like, I lived up north for 8-9 years, you know, to like compete and lived away from my family. So I was just getting to that point where I was thinking it might be time to hang them up. And then when that phone call came and I was going to be able to coach college and do my club, and be involved with Shane and be involved with Kyle and UTC, it was just like this, like a perfect storm. So yeah, that's kind of what kicked it off, and I'm really happy I did it.
So it was always the club first.
Always the club since I was like 9. There was a guy, Arturo Holmes. He ran the TWC club. He's a Georgia legend. And I was like 9 years old, 8, 9 years old, and my dad owns his own company and is an entrepreneur. So we would always be talking about different business ideas and stuff like that. And one night we were just driving home, and I was like, Dad, like, you know, can I just run a wrestling club when I get older? And can I make a living that way? Can I make a good living? And we started like punching numbers together at that when I was that young, saying like, hey man, if you had X amount of members that paid X amount each month, and if you ran privates and did camps and did this and did that, like, yes, you could make a good living doing this. And then from that point on, I was sold. I was like, if I can make a good living running a wrestling club and doing what I love, then like that's where it's at.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That makes sense.
yeah, for sure.
I feel like your club is just this last year or so, it's grown with the tournament y'all just had this weekend. Y'all had it last year, so it's the second year doing that. And now you're opening up a Minion Academy for homeschool. How's that growing it and like putting it out there? How's that experience been?
Yeah, it's been awesome. It's been humbling, that's for sure. And it's like I talk about my dad owning his own business and other business owners that I've known in my life, and it's made my respect for them grow like tenfold. Because running a business and shooting a single leg are two completely different things, and figuring out how to get people in the door and how to, keep like, my wrestlers, but they're also my customers, like my parents and stuff, and figuring out, like you just said, like how to grow the club. And then also like, what do you want the club to look like? Like right now, we have 6 to 8 practice. We also have small groups. We also have beginners. Now we're starting a Minion Training Academy. Like we have so many different things going on. And my goal is to kind of figure out where I think I add the most value and where we can be the best, and then like channel all my energy towards that. And right now, we're hosting events. We've got the Club Fest. We've got Minion Mania. We're starting Minion Training Academy. We've got the beginners program, the advanced. We got the high school, the middle school. So we just have a lot going on right now, and I think that's good. But I would like to, in the next year or so, get a little more concise and a little more like, better at less than necessarily feel like we're doing like 20 different things. It's hard to be great at 20 different things, So I just got to keep like figuring out where my niche is and where I can add the most value and what I really want Minion to turn into. And then go full steam towards that. So at the end of the day, the experience has been awesome, but it's been humbling, and it's hard, but it's fun and rewarding at the same time.
Yeah.
So
With that Minion Mania, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but where do you think y'all did good and some areas you could improve in?
Yeah. So here's my 2 things when we do these youth tournaments is I want the parents and the wrestlers to get out at a decent hour, and I want the kids to love the awards. Those are my 2 things. If we get everybody out in and out at a decent hour, and if the kids really, really enjoy the awards and are excited about winning those awards, then I think we'll always have a good tournament. People will want to come back. The competition will get better and better. And I think we did half of that, right? We did not get people out at a good hour. We wrestled the last match at 9 p.m., which was not good, and I definitely failed in that way. I mean, I went into it wanting to get people out at a good hour, and we didn't do that. And I think that just happened because, the week of the tournament, last year we did 4 mats. We had 300 kids. Well, Wednesday of the week of the tournament, we had like 350 kids signed up. Right. So we had 4 mats, and I'm like, okay, that'll be enough. That's about the same. It ran good last time. Well, between like Wednesday and Friday, middle of the day, like 200 more people signed up. We had to literally cut the registration off. Like we can't take any more when it got to like 550. And then I even still was like, well, we need another mat or 2 if we're going to be adding 200 kids. But if you're going to add a mat, you got to have a referee for that mat. So when I called the head ref to ask if we could get one more referee because we were going to add a mat, it was just too short a notice. The guy had 1 day to get us another ref. So that's definitely where we could have improved. Like next year, it's like, let's get 6 referees and 6 mats. Let's prepare for that. And then it'd be better to just be able to call and be like, hey, we actually don't need 6. We need 5. But at least like be over prepared. And then if we got to draw back. Don't be under prepared and then try and get more prepared at the last second. So that was just kind of like a hard lesson that I learned. But, when you do things like that, you're going to fail at them sometimes. It's no different than wrestling or any other thing. Like you start an event, guess what? You're going to have to hammer out some curveballs, and you're going to get some problems that you didn't see being a problem. And you might have a terrible event. I don't think the event went terrible. I think it could have went a little bit better. In that regard, I also think it went really well in a lot of ways. So I don't think it was terrible. But I did fail in that way. And I think anytime you're starting an event or starting a business, you better be ready to fail for a little bit and make adjustments and just stay at it. Nobody's going to get an event or a club or their own wrestling career or anything perfect on the first try. So we just got to keep making adjustments. But at the end of the day, I think some things went really good and some went bad. So live and learn,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the awards y'all have they're sick.
Yeah, thanks,
It's
man.
better than some high school awards, especially the singlets.
Yeah, I thought the singlets were cool. I think the kids liked them. Yeah, I appreciate it. And then our boy Roman Boylan at the Coliseum hooked us up with the ROW trophies, which were really sweet, which I think everybody really liked too. And it was kind of like a last second thing on him providing those for us. So shout out to him on that. That was really cool of him to do.
Were those the OWs? They were like the people wrestling, right?
Yeah, and they were like nicely plated, like Minion Mania, Outstanding Wrestler 2026, and just like a big, nice, Outstanding Wrestler Award trophy. So, shout out Roman. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah. Well, speaking of in tournaments, would you ever compete again?
Yeah, I would. I think about it a lot, and here's what I think about. It's like I'm gonna get deep here. I'm gonna get deep here for a second. All right, is that cool?
That's cool, bro.
Okay, all right.
Wait, pause for a second.
Stop, Joe. Stop it.
Okay, go ahead.
I just think obviously you only live one time, and you're only young one time, and as a wrestler, you really can only compete at a high level probably until you're 35 at the very oldest. That is, you see JB doing it. You're talking these are rarities that are doing it even at that age, and so I just look at it as man, I'm young, I'm healthy, why not? Why? Are you worried about what people are going to think? Well, that's stupid. People are going to think things no matter what. And if you love wrestling and you love competing and you're young enough to do it and you're healthy enough to do it, why are you not doing it? That's how I feel sometimes. Now, the reason why I'm not doing it is just because it's really hard to be a really good coach and be a really good athlete at the same time. They take polar opposite things from you. Being an athlete, you have to be selfish. It's like what I was saying earlier about me wanting to retire because I didn't want to do all the little things for my body anymore. You have to be selfish. There were nights, my wife, she might want to go to the mall. I'm talking little things want to go to the mall. I'd be like, no, I have practice in the morning. She's like, you don't want to go to the mall? I'm like, no, I don't want to walk around the mall and waste my energy where I'm not going to be able to have full energy at practice in the morning. You have to be selfish that. So then imagine Joe if or Ethan, I have the U.S. Open in 2 weeks and you guys are overweight and you need me to meet you at the gym at 8 p.m. And I'm like, I need to protect my energy and protect this and that. And I just think it's really hard. And don't get me wrong, I would show up at the gym and work out with you guys, and then I would go to the U.S. Open. And I think that's the only, and I think that's the only way to do it. But with me getting this business off the ground, just learning so much about the business every single day, and trying to be the best coach I can be, I just don't think it fits my lifestyle super good. And I've never been ever at every level, elementary, middle, high school, college, senior level. I stunk when I first started. I wasn't very good at first. And then I had to keep figuring it out and figuring my body out and figuring out how to get good at that level. And then finally I figured it out by the end. And I only say that to say I'm not somebody that can show up to the U.S. Open a little bit unprepared and win it. And just such a good athlete and such a good freak that you just go out there and win. I'm not. I got to be prepared. Right. I got to be really prepared. My mind's got to be in a certain spot and my body's got to be in a certain spot. So short answer, yes, I could see myself competing again. I want to. I want to be prepared when I do it. But, it's something I think about all the time, definitely. And I feel like if I don't, again, I feel like I could regret that when I get older. So I hope so. I hope I do.
Dagestan 2026.
I'm in. Sign me up. I'm in right now for any overseas tournament. If you called me up right now and said, let's go to Lithuania tomorrow and scrap, I'm in. I'm going.
You know those people, they do the tournaments and then they stay for a week?
So cool.
Dude, let's do it.
Yes.
That would be sick.
We did it in Cuba one time. We went there, wrestled in a tournament, trained 3 days before, then wrestled in the tournament, then trained 3 days after. It was awesome, man. And let me tell you something. It is so, such good perspective. We went down there. Their gym, there was birds, pooping on the mat. There's just, open, places in the gym where the gym's so old. They, don't even have, it doesn't even cover, the ceiling doesn't even cover the whole room. And, Cuba has had world champs and world medalists for the last 20 years. They're probably a top 5 wrestling country in the world. And, they're literally doing wrestling positions and then doing chin-ups and then doing sit-ups and air squats. That's how they're getting that. And they just work hard. They just do a lot of those things. Yeah. And, when you go there and see that, you start thinking, I have no excuse not to be a world champion with all the things that I am given in the U.S., and just that in itself are great. Like, you're just like, gosh, and it's not even just about wrestling. You just come back to your life and you're just like, wow, my life is amazing. Like, I could be living a totally different lifestyle in a different country, living off rations each month, like living 8 people in a little, 2-bedroom house, not having running water, or like, that's how these people live. And then they go and beat us at the world championship or something. And it's like, wow, we're freaking spoiled. So it's just great perspective. And then those guys, just like, I think it would help my coaching and obviously as an athlete when you get to go over there and just, think about how already when you wrestle somebody from America who's really good, you've never rolled with them before, and you guys start swapping, like how you finish a single leg or how you do this or how you do that. And you're like, wow, I've never thought about it that way. Imagine going with somebody from Cuba that like has only ever done freestyle, and they have a completely different culture. They speak a different language. Like, they are going to show you some stuff that you have never even that's never even crossed your mind that you can do.
Right.
So I think you just learn like in such a different way and can make you have just such a different approach to wrestling when you start doing those overseas trips. That's definitely something I wish I got to do more of. Right. For sure.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Yeah, that'd be so cool. We should do that. We need to find a way to go.
That'd be sick.
Anywhere.
Yeah, anywhere.
What weight would you go?
Come on, dude. I'm from life for 125.
He's exposing you to Team Talks right now. That's messed up.
Why does he do that?
That's not cool.
He loves to lure me in and then burn me in front of everybody.
Not cool.
And I always fall for it too.
You thought you were trying to be kind.
You two in the finals? Would y'all wrestle?
That's not cool.
No, we're forfeiting.
Nah,
I'm just kidding. We're wrestling. 100%. We're scrapping. We're getting it on.
That'd be sick.
Nah, we're scrapping. I'm going to try and kill Joe for those 6 minutes, and then when it's over, we're going to go hang out and have a burger.
Why are we going to kill each other? I was just going to try to score 10 points on you, but it's cool.
Nah, I was going to try and kill you out there. I'm just kidding.
Nah, it's all good. I see how it is.
Where would we go? What would be, like, if you had to pick what country you wanted to wrestle in, which one would it be?
That's a good question. Dagestan. Like, going to a tournament out there. I mean, I know that it'd be so cool. I know, like, yeah, but like when you're doing a wrestling trip, like Joe just looked at me like, oh my gosh, Dagestan, it's so cold. It's like, okay, dude, we're going for wrestling. We're not going to the beach. We're not looking to go to Spain.
But if we're staying a week after, we could train.
We might get
killed. You could go to like Italy or something like that, bro, and like you could go for a week and then visit some city that's like some cool city that you'll never get to see ever again. That's why.
I'd like to go to Dagestan.
You want to go to Dagestan with Islam?
I want to go to Dagestan and I want to explore single legs out there for a week. All right, I don't need the dang Eiffel Tower and all that stuff. That's a different type of vacation.
That's soft.
Send me to Dagestan and let me work on my underhook for freaking 4 sessions a day for a week. You know what I mean?
That was soft-minded of me. That's on me.
It was. That's okay.
I got a great question. Just speaking about MMA guys, we get a lot. Like, these questions are asked to us a lot in school. If you like put yourself up against an MMA guy in wrestling, you think you could beat them?
Very badly. Very badly, very quickly.
Thank you.
Absolutely assaulted. Like a 125-pound UFC champ. And now I'm not talking about Henry Cejudo.
Yeah,
that's an outlier. Henry Cejudo is tech falling me 100%. He's Olympic champion. I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about you're just run-of-the-mill. I'm talking UFC. They're good. But, like, maybe they just wrestled in college somewhere, or they just wrestled high-level high school, and now they do wrestling MMA. Yes, a top 15 125-pounder in Division I college wrestling is beating that guy by a major decision at the very least.
For sure.
It's a totally different, like, wrestling-specific training in MMA. I mean, think about just wrestling training in general. There's all these different positions. You have to touch on them,
it's
throughout
different from MMA
months.
Wrestling.
Yeah,
it's
like
way different. It's gotta be.
It's way different,
dude. Scrambling, you don't get in those positions in MMA wrestling.
I do think a question that would have to be answered is like, if we're wrestling, are shoes on or off? Like, are we doing? You know what I'm saying?
It's a valid question.
That's a valid point.
Because if the shoes are off, like, and it's like it is in the UFC, it does take out a lot. You can't shoot single legs. You can't like shoot below the knee because they just step out of it.
No, shoes are on because it's a wrestling match.
Yeah, it's a wrestling match. It's just a wrestling.
Guy's getting blistered, 100%. Dude's getting blistered, and not just by me, by you all, both you guys, and by any high-level D1 wrestler. It's just I don't think that's really comparative, in my opinion.
Same weight. Do you think you could beat Khabib
in wrestling?
And straight wrestling, maybe even freestyle.
Like toe the line, like wrestling.
Dude, I don't know.
Same way,
Khabib.
bro. I'm taking myself. I'm betting on myself.
I mean, I'm betting on myself always, but Khabib is a monster, man. And I mean, he's grown up in like, I don't know how much wrestling I mean, you got to think he's trained with those Dagestani wrestlers. You think those guys just blister him?
Dude.
Maybe.
No, I don't. Actually, you're probably right. They definitely don't.
Just his level of strength, like, you know, and this kind of argues back to the UFC guy, like what they could say about wrestling, but like just his body awareness, body control, strength, pace, stamina,
But
and
I also,
a good wrestling background too.
I think that he like MMA is not like wrestling. In wrestling, you're always on the attack. Like the stuff you make us do in practice, our like gas tank would be way better than theirs because they just kind of sit around and like fist, like they go like this with their hands with each other, and like it's not like you're exerting
not
energy
as much
for
pace.
6 minutes. Yeah, and then they get breaks in between rounds. Like I don't think they would be in shape to wrestle one of us for 6 minutes.
I agree. And one thing people really don't take into consideration is in MMA you stand straight up.
Right.
You stand straight up.
I never thought
that either.
And think about when you get tired in wrestling and you have your back is bent, your legs are bent, you're in a complete like full squat the whole match. You're exhausted, you're bringing hard, and you got to go get one in your bent leg stance. You're not standing straight up with your back locked in where you can really like get all the oxygen to your lungs and like to your body. So I do think the cardio is different. I mean, and UFC fights are longer. So
that's what I was about to say. They're longer.
They're a lot longer, so I think you got to. There's a lot of stamina involved for those guys, but wrestling-specific stamina I do think is different. Even though it's a shorter match, with not being able to come out of your stance or, like you said, like you're constantly in a position to be trying to score.
Right.
There's not a lot of wasting time.
They also don't like nobody does it like how wrestling does it, where you get off the scale and wrestle like an hour later. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
MMA,
nobody.
don't they have like a day and a
It's
half?
like 24
basically?
hours, sometimes more.
Like,
yeah.
You just don't do it like wrestling. Like you have to be like ready to go. The stuff that you put in your body right after weigh-ins isn't going to help you.
Yeah.
It's what you have done before that, and then you got to make weight, but you got to be energized to wrestle. Like if you were doing it like that, there's no way.
For sure.
Some of their weight cuts are gnarly.
Insane. 30,
They're
40
bad.
pounds.
Have you seen Islam's like latest
yeah.
weight cut?
Gosh.
Bad.
The IV, you know, the IV in and stuff. Dude, and I'm not, you know, I couldn't even tell you who, it wasn't about anybody from the South. It was from, you know, a different club, not from the South. But I heard of kids getting IVs at Tulsa this year. Yeah.
You're talking about like 6
I'm talking, I don't know about 6U, but I'm talking 15 years and under kids cutting weight out in Tulsa and getting IVs.
That's crazy.
It can't be good, right? I
That's
mean,
gotta be bad for you.
I don't think IVs are unhealthy. I mean, it's basically just hydrating you at a more rapid rate. But like, if you're cutting the amount of weight at that age to need an IV,
You gotta be
Crazy.
come on, dog.
Dude.
Get better.
Come on. They're just evolving. Kids are
Yeah.
just better at younger ages.
They are.
No,
They are.
that's
Every
too
sport.
much, dude. Cutting weight is something that ruins our sport. I think everybody, you cut it from a young age, and then you're like, oh my gosh, I have to do that. It's something that ruins the sport, and you're making them start it earlier now.
Agree.
Like
Agree.
that sucks.
I think up until like this was the rule my dad had for me growing up with cutting weight, and I think it was a great rule. He said we would always go to my most near weight class, like at Tulsa, and what that would mean was like if the weight was 52 and I weighed 54, we'd go 52. If the weight was 52 and I weighed 55, we'd go 52. If the weight was 52 and I weighed 56, we'd go 55. Like, we wouldn't skip a weight class to get anywhere. Yeah. But you'd go to your nearest weight. Like, you don't need to weigh 53 and go 55. Right. You're going to get annihilated that way, too. And then he would tell me, but when you come to me and ask if you can cut weight for a tournament, I'll let you do it, and we'll talk about the best way to do it. And then sure enough, I was like in the 7th grade. It was schoolboy duels, and I was weighing like 93, and the weights were 92 or 84. And I remember looking at the entry list for both the weights, and I was like,
I gotta go to
84.
Dad, I need to go 84, man. And it was perfect. I was probably 14. I was probably just getting to the age where it was okay. And I had a good weight cut, and it went good. And it was all my idea. So I never, in that weight cut, got to think, my dad made me do this, and I didn't even want to go this way. Like, I had to go ask him. So when I got to that point, it's like, dude, you asked for this. You said you wanted to do this. So I think that's a good way to have your kids do it. Like, make them ask you. And then you got to get them to their closest weight. Like, if he's got to miss dinner, he's got to miss dinner. I mean, you got to at least be able to make some sacrifices. But
Yeah,
pulling
for sure.
8-9 pounds from 75 to 65 to me is egregious. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Having an IV at
hold on.
under 15. What?
75 to 65, and you said 8 to 9 pounds.
Did I say 10? I thought I said.
They did
You
not
definitely
say-
didn't say 10, but it's
I thought
fine.
I said 8 to 10 pounds or something
8
like
to
that.
9?
Why can't I exaggerate and get away with it on here?
What?
No, he
Asshole.
You said 8 to 9, 75
Dude,
to 65
leave him alone.
pounds.
His ACT
Dude.
score's not a 36. Leave him alone.
I was just
You're
saying.
talking about 16 ounces, Ethan, all right? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah. What's your worst weight cut you've ever done?
That is a good one. Super 32, my junior year. I was this size. I probably weighed about 133, 134, and went 113.
You haven't grown since your junior year?
No. Quick answer, no.
No. You went 113?
113. That was a tough weight cut.
What did you walk around at?
About
133.
32, probably.
It's not a fun one. Almost 2019.
Yeah. And just on a guy that size, too, like, yeah.
Yeah.
Good math. Yeah, good math.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah, that one was tough. And then I went that weight the rest of the season, but then it got easier and easier after that. But I would say, yeah, that was probably my hardest cut, definitely. Yeah, for sure. What about you guys? Talk to me about your gnarliest cuts. Ethan, you first.
The one that sucked the most, or the one that was probably the hardest? Like,
No, the one that sucked the most.
Okay.
Sometimes you just do it wrong. You have like a bad
Yeah.
day, and then
Oh,
it
yeah.
makes the whole rest
Okay,
of the
well,
cut
there was this
bad.
one time we talked about this before on here. We were at Wildwood Duels, and I was a few pounds. I don't know how many pounds I was over, but I had to run in the cold. We didn't have a treadmill, and it was outside. It was winter time, cold as balls out there. I was running in like a little garage. My dad's screaming at me, yelling at me. I'm crying my eyes out. And then that night I had to go to bed over, and they weighed in that night, but you also can weigh in the morning. I was the only one. We stayed in Airbnb with some of the team. I was the only kid that went to bed overweight, and everyone else went to Pizza Hut.
Oh, my
And I had to sleep
goodness.
in my parents' room because everyone else was happy.
Oh.
And I was just being.
You just
I
hear
was
the
being a
joy
bit-
outside
yes,
the room.
Yes, dude.
No, imagine this.
Yes, bro. It was
9-year-old Ethan's sleeping in the room. You hear Eli Herring, JoJo Yurchuk, Sam Herring, Cooper Hill. We're all running around the house eating.
Loving life.
Oh my gosh, it was
It
awesome.
was bad.
Post weigh in, like after that dinner, and you come back with your boys is like probably peak happiness.
Oh, my
for,
God.
like,
That's true.
It's,
That
you're
is
so
true.
happy.
You're kind
for
of
that
like,
time.
do I even want to wrestle tomorrow?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Like, let me just keep eating. Bro.
Especially those tournaments.
How
like
many
the Wild
desserts can you have in one night? That's how that.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
that is
What's your
brutal
weight?
though. That is a crazy weight cut story to think about. Everybody else made it. You're
bad.
9.
It's not. It wasn't even that. It was my dad. Because my dad
on you.
was.
Yeah.
Nah, he was pissed at me.
Did you do something wrong in the weight cut to like
I don't
make
even.
it?
Dude, I was
Probably.
so young. I don't even remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, yes, probably.
Yeah.
Still don't really cut weight.
Right.
sometimes. You know.
Yeah. What about you, Joe?
Probably Vegas this year. I mean, I was walking around at probably what I'm walking around at now, and I went 12.
Yeah.
Probably, I was probably a little less. I was probably walking around at like what it was probably about your weight cut to
Yeah.
32. It was probably about 20 pounds. It just sucked. And I did it, I did it perfectly. Like the stuff we talked about and how we planned for it was perfect, man. I did it perfect. I actually really felt okay. I just wrestled horrible, and it sucks when you do that. And I did everything right with the
Yeah.
weight cut. Felt good.
So
I
you don't
would've
think it
made
was? You don't think it was the weight cut that?
I
why you
wrestled
didn't wrestle?
horrible, dude. I jumped over top
Yeah, but
every
do-
single time
do you
somebody got
I
hit.
know,
Like,
but
Oh, okay.
I also don't even think it's. I guess yeah, you didn't wrestle good, but I don't think it was you as much as it was a bad training cycle because we took all our preparation for NHSCA.
NHSCA.
We literally trained freestyle 2 weeks, bro. That you can't do that. I'll never
No.
do that with a group again. Like I learned that lesson the hard way. As soon as you and Gabe were struggling, I was like, this is because we did like we were getting turned.
Yeah.
We were losing scrambles where we didn't know what to do.
And
So-
that's where we got. I have to win a scramble. Like,
yeah. So
Yeah,
this year we're making
got
that
to.
change. We're gonna start training for U.S. Open post state, and I think we're gonna have a much better tournament. I think it was just that,
win. I'm gonna win.
100%.
Win.
Yeah,
You
100%.
heard it here first. 2025 U.S. Open champs.
We'll be in Guatemala this time,
Shawnee-
5 months from now.
Wait, you're competing in the U.S. Open, right? We just talked about it. 57 kg.
I need to start training today.
Yo, somebody told me that they have 51 kilograms. This is completely off off topic, but somebody told me that 51 kg was something for U20.
No.
Wrong.
Oh, wait. U20?
U20 was
No.
51.
U20, the first weight's 57. It could be Greco. Like, Greco, the first weight for senior level is 55 kg, which is 121. So it might U20, the first weight in Greco might be 51 kg, maybe.
No, I think it's 55 because that's what I think.
Yeah.
It was Mason Jacob. I think he said 121 was one of the weights.
I would love that weight class way better. 121 would be way better for me. Honestly, it'd be perfect for me. I'd have to cut about 12 pounds. It'd
be good, but you still feel good.
I'd still feel good. Yeah.
I'm gonna be a little small for 25, but I think I'm gonna feel fine. So
I think you're gonna feel really good because you're not like, and your energy level is gonna be super high, and that's what you need to like bank on.
Yeah.
These guys that are cutting from 40 and just finished their college season, they're gonna be worn out, dude. They're gonna be looking for an excuse to turn down when they get in those scrambles and lose a couple of them.
Crocs lock.
We're gonna give them that reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby.
Oh yeah.
I gotta work on single leg, man. Jeez.
Yeah.
God.
That's like, I was texting you the other day, I think that's the last piece. I think once you master single leg defense, I think it's over, man. I think then it's just about feeling good and you competing well. And then for the rest of your life, like, you'll always be making changes. You'll always be adding to your offense and stuff, but that's the last piece I think you need to, like, win a national title or, you know, from a development perspective.
For sure.
So
From a coaching perspective.
Mm-hmm.
It's my dog right there.
Hell yeah. E, what do you think you need, man?
For win what?
What do you need to close it out? What do you need to be a final product?
Oh, probably bottom, dude.
You kind of do everything good already.
Yeah,
bottom, dude.
I just think you need to, like, I don't know. This might be like, I don't think this is mean to say. I just think you need to, like, sometimes I feel like you're in the match with all the good guys. Sometimes it just doesn't go your way. Like, I think you just need a little bit of luck, really. Like
I wouldn't say that. I think
kid.
it's
But you work, like, I feel like
you're
you're
right.
so solid in every position.
But me and Sean talked to this before. It's like, I don't think it's luck. It's just like we got to know how to close out matches get that one score. Because I remember that match. I was on a single leg, and I was just being and I was just too tired to finish that single.
Might have to cut that out.
Might have to cut that one out. But
I love it.
I know the ref called a crappy call, but I can't control that. So
Yeah.
you got to control me finishing that takedown.
Yeah.
I had it like shelved and everything. I was just tired, or I don't even remember. But.
Yeah, I mean, you wrestled a hard-ass match that match. But I think when we get tired sometimes, Ian, with as hard as you train, I think the only reason you even feel any fatigue is because of, like, stress and stuff. And that I tell the college guys that too. Like, it's like how hard we train here, and then you're telling me you get really tired in a 7-minute match.
No way.
No, you're stressed. You're stressed. Yeah. And I get it. There's always a level. You got to take your anxiety and that stress and harness it and use it, not let it work against you.
Clip that.
It's powerful. You can use it, and it can make you, like, be able to, like, freaking lift a car or wrestle for 30 minutes straight without getting tired, like, and be able to push through it if you harness it and use it the right way. But it's hard, man. But I honestly think, and, you know, we're just talking, I was just thinking, I think that is the final piece for you. I think all your technique is freaking world class. I think you're already good enough to be a national champ and beat every single guy at the 133 or 125 pound weight class. I think when you start really releasing in competition, and it sounds so weird, some people might hear this and think I'm an idiot, but you got to literally not care. When you've put the amount of work in you guys have put in, you have to make yourself, like, not care when you go compete. Yeah. And it sounds bizarre. What do you mean don't care? I mean, like, surrender the result. Like, be like, hey, I'm going to wrestle this style. I don't know if I'm going to win or lose. I'm going to wrestle this style. Yeah. And I'm going to go freaking get after it and score as many points as I can and be as offensive as possible. And I think when you do that without any stress and where it's, like, really, like, you're having fun out there, and I think you'll beat the number 1 and number 2, number 3 guys. And just like what you said, the same guys that you're losing to in overtime or by 1 or by 2, I think just that flip, you'll beat those guys. So. Yeah.
Mindset for sure is definitely a switch.
I was thinking about this the other day, and our practice room at Signal, we do live, but we do not do near as much as we do at Minion. And they like complain about how much live we do sometimes. We do like what 5-minute goes, and we'll do like how many of 5-minute goes of practice.
Depends on the day.
5, 6, 7, something like that.
At least 4 every day.
At least,
dude. We do so much live, like back to back to back, no breaks. And then you like you were saying, and then you get tired in a match where you go a 3-minute go and then another 3-minute go.
It doesn't make sense.
You went like 30 minutes of straight wrestling yesterday, dog.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get tired.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
And I do think also on the other hand of that, I do think because it's competition, no matter how good a shape you're in, you're going to get tired because you're going to push yourself.
Right.
Like, you're trying to go harder in a match than probably what you're going to practice. Hopefully, yes, you should always practice really hard too, but you're probably going to step it up another, percent or two. And I think you also have to know that, but so here's the difference. You do get tired in practice every day, but because there's not all those, it's not a match, it doesn't like wear on you as bad. You just push through being tired.
Right.
But when we get tired in a match, it gets to us more. Where it's like, well, you do this every day. You're tired every day.
Right.
And you push yourself through it and you go get one every single. So just be who you are every day. You don't have to be somebody else.
Right.
And I think that's where it gets like.
Clip that.
It gets.
Shoot, I'm gonna make a TikTok on that, dude. Farming.
But easier said than done. And I've done it both ways. Like, I've had the matches where I went out there, and that's why I know that it's what's best. Like, I mean, I'll give this example. I wrestled in the round of 12 2 times in college, my sophomore year and my senior year. In my sophomore year, I was happy to be where I was, meaning I was really excited to wrestle that match. Like, wasn't thinking about winning it. I wasn't thinking about losing it. I was thinking about how hard I'd worked to get to wrestle in the blood round at the NCAA Division I tournament, and how cool it was that I was in this position in my life, and how I was going to go out there and show these people what I chose to do with my life and how good I am at this thing. And I remember smiling, like being out on the mat like 5 minutes before we wrestled, like smiling, like not ear to ear grinning, but just being like, this is awesome. Like, I don't know, I'm going to get after it. If I lose, I lose, but this is awesome. Like, this is what I lived for. I've been doing this. I've been hoping for this my whole life, and I'm not going to be too stressed out. I'm going to go have fun. And I wrestled a great match, and it was like very close at the end, and it was 1-1 with about a minute left. I had to get a takedown. I never felt stressed one time in that match. Never felt like, what if I lose it? What if I don't get it? I never felt that way, and I went and got the takedown and, won the match. And then I look at my senior year, and I was a way better wrestler at that stage of my life, and I was probably even a lot better in that situation in the guy I was going to wrestle in around 12 than I was my sophomore year. But I was stressed, and I didn't even care how I looked. I just wanted the match to be over, and I wanted my hand raised. And I was stressed, man. And then, in my opinion, and this isn't why I lost because I got out wrestled, but I felt like the ref had made a couple bad calls. I started arguing with the ref because I'm all stressed out about losing. I'm scared I was like scared to lose, and I wrestled terrible. It wasn't even about me losing the match. I wrestled terrible, and I know that's because of where my head was, like being more stressed than excited to compete. And that's why I tell you guys, I know that is the best way to be. You've got to surrender it. You've got to be excited. Might not work out every single time being that way, but that's your best chance at winning. And even if I'd have won that round of 12 match my senior year, I would still be saying the same thing on this podcast because I knew I wouldn't have wrestled my best. I may have won, but I wouldn't have wrestled my best, know. And that's what you're chasing is your best performance.
Right.
You get that, you're going to have your best chance of winning.
Yeah, it's so cliche, but I feel like you just gotta and I haven't realized this until like this past year, but you just gotta fall in love with everything you do with wrestling.
So true.
Because I used to hate it and like didn't want to do it when I was younger. I was a baseball guy, but then like this past 2 years, especially this year, this season, it's all been smiles and fun and like I'm at state duels. I'm like dancing before matches, and now granted, I'm not wrestling number one kid.
No,
in the country,
but it's still
But it I don't really care what's about to happen. I'm about to go wrestle. And honestly, it just feels like it intimidates the other dudes. They're like, oh, my God, this dude's having fun out here. He's not even care about losing.
For sure.
But, yeah, I don't know.
Dude, I think that's what happened to me, really. And, just like what you're saying and what you're saying. Like, at Fargo, I think I was uptight. I just got some calls that I was like, geez, they're calling me. And then I just wrestled uptight. I was like, God, I got to perform for these coaches, man. They're all watching. This is a big stage. And I just kind of got uptight. I don't think I wrestled well. And then me and you had a heart-to-heart, and we talked a lot after. And then at Elite 8, man, I just let go, and I wrestled a lot better. I mean, I beat some guys I beat the kid who got second in my Fargo bracket. I think just the best way to wrestle is wrestling free and having fun, man. You just got to, I don't think you can be uptight. I don't think it's the way to wrestle.
It's not.
you can't be all stressed out and all pumped up. I also don't think like being like so angry to go wrestle is good either. I think you just got to be happy, man. I mean, like, I think something you say to me that helps me all the time is like, just imagine it's me and you in the room. I feel like I wrestle my best when I go against you because, like, I mean, you're the best guy in the room. It's like, man, you got beat Sean today. Like, that's my goal when I walk into practice. I'm going against an All-American every day. It's like, just like, let me beat Sean today. And so if you wrestle like you wrestling in a practice room, man, you don't worry about who's watching or anything like that. It's
just go.
So you just go.
Yeah.
You have fun doing it.
100%. I think, like, in what you're saying and that what we're all saying is, like, getting into that flow state. Like, that's when we're at our best. When you're, like, listening to music, you're joking with your buddies, you're having a good time, you're focused, you get in that flow state, and you just go out there and wrestle and, like, scrap. Right. I feel like that's when you're at your best. When, like, there's this old, like, I think it's, like, Japanese warrior theory, and they talk about, like, thinking nothing.
Yes, I don't know where that's from, but I know what you're talking about. I don't know, like, who. It's a warrior thing. It's from Japanese.
Yeah. Like, thinking nothing. Like, don't... Because, dude, we suffer so much more in our minds than we ever do in real life with the what-ifs. What if this? What if that? What if this? What if that? Like, it's never as bad. It's never like that. It never ends up like that. And so they just talk about, like, thinking nothing. Like, not letting yourself think about anything and then go out there and, you know, think about your couple things you maybe need to think about that you tell yourself before every match, but just not thinking anything and going out there and scrapping your butt off. And I think, too, like, people need to know this is a high-level conversation. Like, I'm not telling your kid to just go out there and have fun if he's 10 and doesn't know how to train yet. Like, he's got to learn how to train and learn to get his approach right to the sport. Right. Then he needs to know how to let go and have fun.
Right.
But if you're a kid and you're not competitive and you don't take it seriously and you don't care that bad when you lose, like, you're probably not going to be a wrestler anyway.
Right.
So this is for true wrestling people that have a hard time hanging on too tightly, which I think is a huge problem, and just in wrestling in general. Such a personal sport, you know, so many people deal with that and struggle with it.
Yeah, I think the same thing. Like, we lost state duels past Saturday, and I was telling the guy, you say this all the time. I didn't say this exactly, but you always say wins and losses bleed together. And I think it goes for two things. You always talk about it, how it's like wins and losses bleed together. It's about your performance, and like you want to know you wrestled your hardest. Like, you don't want to just like hold on for the win, stuff like that. And it also goes for like the type of person you are off the mat, and kind of like it's just like wins and losses. Your wins and losses bleed together. If you're a scumbag but you win all the time, nobody really cares. Like, who cares if you're a national champ but you're just a complete a-hole off the mat? But if you're like, if you lose and you're like the nicest guy ever, bro, people are going to remember you for being a great guy. So I was telling our guys about that. Like, dude, it doesn't matter. Wins and losses, especially high school state duels, dude. Yeah, it would have been cool to win, but, like, come on. Like, the sun's going to rise tomorrow, and it's going to be okay. Yeah. Like, I don't think it matters that much, but I also think it goes back to, like, you got to know how to compete before you learn. It doesn't matter that much.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. I think, like, one thing, I still say this to myself when I'm about to, like, wrestle with the college guys and do matches, or even with you guys. I promise I say this thing to myself sometimes where I'll be like, if you're going to lose, like, or I'll say, be willing to lose wrestling a certain way. I know that sounds so weird to say, but what that means is, like, if you're going to lose wrestling the way you want to wrestle. Like, don't go out, like, you know, if you're going to lose, go down on your shield, man. Like, make them carry you out of here. If that's the worst thing that happens today is that you lose, then make sure you took care of the way that you're supposed to wrestle. We can't always control the wins and losses. Like, we can't, you know, we try our best to, but we can't. So have that style and just focus on wrestling in a way that if you lost wrestling this way, you know, I'm not saying you'd be okay with it, but you wouldn't be disappointed in yourself. Like, hey, I'm gonna do these things, and if I lose, I lose, but I'm gonna freaking get after it. And then I think you're gonna have your best performance, and then you're gonna have a lot more wins, and it's gonna be a lot more fun.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
God, this guy's motivational. God, this guy.
I want to go. I don't know about you, but I want to go wrestle right now.
This is what we deal with on a daily before our matches. We get to listen to this. Or it's awesome in the room when we're on the wall doing sprints, and he'll be like, he'll walk in front of us, say something, he'll be like, down back, go.
down back, go.
Yeah. I've had to lighten up on the speeches to the young kids. Like,
it probably doesn't go through to them. It doesn't.
You know, it doesn't. And man, it's just like you got to be willing to make adjustments. And my coaching philosophy has definitely shifted a lot in the past few years. And the way that I coach kids now is changing every day. And you just can't, like, the way that I coach you guys and the speeches I give and the way that I talk to you guys, it can't be the same. It's not the same. And it doesn't inspire those kids the way that it inspires you guys when we have these types of talks. They're just not old enough yet. Their interests are different. They're,
Right.
So what I've found is, like, trying to inspire those kids to want to be like you guys, or to want to be a D1 national champ or to be an Olympic champ, inspire them to want to be that. And then, then you can teach them how to be that. But what I learned too is giving the speeches and then making them do frog hops if they don't drill right. It's like, then they just drill right so Coach Sean doesn't make you do frog hops. They don't drill right because they want to be good. So then you go to the tournament, you're like, why didn't you we drilled high crotch so he didn't do one high crotch. Well, he's only drilling high crotches because he's scared you're going to yell at him. So, yeah. So anyways, that just made me think about that. But yeah, I do love the speeches. I love, like, having a platform where I can just share my, like, life experiences with you guys, and I love, like, talking to you guys that way and hopefully playing a part and, like, getting you guys fired up and teaching you guys about life. But yeah, the little kids, I had to pivot on that stuff.
No more speeches.
Joe, I got a good question. What do you think the worst, like, I guess, conditioning we've done? I don't know if you call it conditioning, but, like, I don't know what you call it.
I think the split squats are
They're
bad.
bad.
The
Russian
Russian sits or the squats or whatever they're called, those
suck.
are bad too.
Where you, like, do the half squat and just hold it.
Yeah.
Some people don't do it right, though.
They cheated.
They definitely cheat. But if
And
you add them all
I also
together,
think hanging for a minute's not horrible, but after you do 6 sets of stance and motion, and then we're on our 6th set of hanging, it's like, oh my gosh, dude.
And your lungs are, like, fried, and you're just trying to
That
hold
one's
on.
bad. Those are probably the 3 that are the worst. Split squats are bad too because we'll do them for like a minute or something, and Sean will be like, "You can do anything for a minute." It's like,
Anything.
Sean, I'm not sure if I can, bro.
Well, Sean, we've been wrestling for 2 hours, so I'm actually not doing just something for a minute, so you know.
I like that one. You can do anything for a minute. I like that saying. That's a good one.
Remember that lifting program I got you guys on last
oh my
year?
gosh, stop!
It was
No.
kind of OD. It was kind of OD. I'm not gonna lie. Looking back,
It was OD.
Yeah.
one of the things was like 20 muscle ups, and I look back, I'm like, Sean, you can only do like 3 muscle ups. How'd you told these guys to do 20?
It was the what was the ones where you, like, just carried or
You would hold
on
them.
one foot?
Oh, weight
on,
holds. Oh,
on
no.
one foot,
Yeah,
right?
weight holds on one foot. That's what you would do.
No, it wasn't weight holds on one foot. No, it was weight. It was jumps on one foot
Yes.
while holding the weight. It was one-footed jumps while
Those
holding the weight.
Fucking
Very hard.
It was me. It was me, Ian, Kaysen. Kaysen would stay at our house, dude. Oh
Case
my
probably
god,
loved it.
We were like,
Case probably loved
muscle
it.
hamster boy.
Yeah,
So,
probably did
what
it
are
all.
100-pound dumbbells ever?
Yeah, yeah. he
Those
probably
were
loved
rough.
it.
I do remember that. Actually, now that you say that.
All that just to go 2 and 2.
That wasn't just for the US Open. That's for Fargo.
Yeah, that's what.
3 and 2.
Oh, my fault.
You know, just a little bit better, but
Nah.
not there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, no, not really.
I felt like both you guys hit a different level after Fargo, and that, like, dude, that is what competing is, man. It is failing, and then that you using that motivation to get way better. Like, there's no other way. Name me one great guy who hasn't failed and then came back, did it way better to succeed.
You can't.
You can't. They've all done it that way. It's the only way to do it. So the people who are, like, at home be like, oh, well, we don't want to go to the U.S. Open this year because, we're only going to be able to cut 12 pounds and Johnny's on his young year. And, like, well, it's like, you know what? Johnny needs to go up there and get his ass kicked. And then, you know what? He's going to train a lot harder when he comes back. And he's going to realize he's not where he thought he was. It's good for you to go out and lose sometimes. I don't think it's good to lose every single weekend. But you got to chase the losses, and that's what motivates you. I feel like all of my wins that I'm proud of came after my biggest losses where I thought I was the worst. I feel like I had to go prove to the world that I was a good wrestler. And if I wouldn't have put myself out there to get beat, I probably wouldn't have had that big win. I probably would have lost that. You know what I mean? So,
Right. Good segue into a question I have. What's your favorite win of your career?
Great segue.
it's a good one.
I stuttered, but it's cool.
Doesn't matter.
I would say,
Cool.
gosh, my favorite win of my whole life.
You a little nervous? Nah, okay, yeah.
Sean makes me nervous.
Stop.
Yo, what did you say?
Dude, I don't know. My favorite win. I mean, round of 12 is like, I've never been that excited after a win. I've never felt that emotional. I've never cried after winning like I did after that match. Never felt more of like everything paid off that I channeled all my life into. I mean, 18 hard years of wrestling and failing. For that moment, it kind of felt like, honestly, winning my 4th state title, I cried. I cried about it because just growing up, I remember watching this guy named Brandon Westerman win 4 state titles when I was like 10. And when he won his 4th, I remember telling my dad, like, I want to win 4 state titles so bad, Dad. And I remember we had this long talk about it, and it was like a big deal in our house for me to win 4 state championships. And that match, it wasn't a super tough match or anything. It just just felt like a lot of work being like paid off. Mm-hmm. And that's like, that feeling is, that is the best feeling in the world when you feel like the risk that you took and all the hard work you put in that you didn't know would pay off, it does. In some way, it is the best. So I would probably say those two. Last chance on senior level, that day was crazy. That day was awesome, man. I mean, I was 0-7 against Darian Cruz in college, and all 1 point overtime, double overtime, 1 point overtime, double overtime, and we had a lot of good matches. And I love Darian; he's a great competitor, and a great friend too. But and beating him, and then beating Jack Mueller, who I was 0-3 against, and then beating Zane Richards, who I had never wrestled in a match, but he would come train with us, and when we would do simulation matches, I was like 0-4 against him too. So it was like that was just a cool day of like,
big wins.
Yeah, just big wins that I hadn't had, and like I had already told my family, hey, I'm like done after Olympic trials. So last chance could have been my last tournament. My dad and mom flew out to watch me. They knew it could have been my last one, and it just worked out to like I beat 3 people I'd never beaten before, and my dad was there, and that was so cool. Like, gosh, that was cool.
Dude, winning round of 12, I don't know. I guess it depends on if you're a freestyle or folk style guy. But, like, winning round of 12 at NCAAs or, like, making it to the semis, like, securing your placement has to be the greatest feeling ever because that's like our end goal. Like, you do some cool stuff in middle school, and then you get into high school, and it's like, okay, but it was middle school. Nobody really cares. And then you get into college, and what you did in high school, it matters, but not really. Nobody really cares. So that's our really end goal. That's like, God, I can finally say that for the rest of my life. Like you're not going to sit here and say, well, I won Super 32 because everybody's going to be like, well, you wrestled on college.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Yeah.
No, 100%.
So it's kind of like our end. It's our end kind of pretty much everybody's end goal.
It's what you're working for.
Right.
Like, that's what I want for you guys is to be All-Americans and national champions. If winning Super 32 is on the way to that, that's great, and I hope that we achieve that. And when we go to win. But that's what I want for you guys. Like, I would be upset if I felt like later that you guys peaked in high school and didn't do the thing in college, because winning at the NCAA tournament is the coolest thing you can do in wrestling. I think outside of traveling overseas and wrestling at the World Championships and stuff like that, it's winning at the NCAA tournament. And even winning at the World Championships or the Olympics is nothing compared to winning at the NCAA Championships from the perspective of the crowd and stuff.
Right.
Bro, you're talking 50,000 people are there watching you wrestle. The crowd is electric. Like, there's a match at the NCAA tournament where the crowd got me less tired. Like, I'd be real tired, and then the crowd would be, like, going nuts. I'd be like, oh, I'm not tired anymore. Like, this is awesome. This is unbelievable. So, like, that atmosphere, like, I want that for you guys. I want you guys to get to feel that. You feel like a superstar. And you are a superstar. You're freaking one of the baddest dudes in the country. Like, winning in college it is really cool, winning at that tournament. It's hard to put it in words, but yeah, like you say, like how cool of a feeling it is. Like, I think it's Saturday night is where it's blood round and semi. So the third day of NCAA, the only guys that there's only 8 people that weigh in. It's the 8 All-Americans.
That's sick.
So if you make it to the third day, you placed at the NCAA tournament. And they always say that Saturday night is the happiest group of kids you'll ever see weight cutting in your life. Because everybody's got to make weight for Sunday, and they're all on bikes and treadmills. Everybody's laughing and cutting up and throwing stuff at each other and hugging, and like, because everybody in there has accomplished a goal in their life that they didn't know if they could or not.
Right.
And that's like really cool. Like, that's a cool night to be cutting that weight, to get on weight for Sunday so you can go wrestle your freaking 5th or 3rd or NCAA finals match. And I think that just like speaks to how the feeling there, like people are cutting 10, 11 pounds that night and are throwing a party about
sick,
it. You know, like, yeah, it's pretty crazy. So, yeah, for sure.
That'd be sick, though.
Yeah.
Wrestling in NCAA finals, 50,000 people just watching you. That would be sick.
So cool, man. So cool. And, you know, it's one of those things like, here's what young people don't understand. And I talked to my brother about this and other people your guys' age that I really care about. It's like, I would give anything to be an NCAA finalist and get to know what that feeling was. Like, I can never get that. I'll never have that ever for the rest of my life. And I got my NCAA moments, and I'm happy with how my life is, but I'll never be able to get that. And what these young kids don't understand is, like, the distractions, the partying, the girls, the social stuff. You can do that actually forever.
Yeah.
I'm 30 now. If I want to stay up tonight till 4 a.m. and then tough through work tomorrow, I can do that. And I'm only hurting myself, though. You know, I mean, yes, like if I was a zombie and I wasn't doing my job right, I'm hurting other people. But, like, I don't have to sacrifice for my body or, like, you know, if I want to have a couple of beers now, I can have a couple of beers as an adult now, and it's not a big deal. I don't have a championship to win. I don't have anything else. And I'm only 30. Like, I'm not old yet either. And I have my whole life to experience those types of things that maybe these young kids or you guys feel like you're missing out on. You're not missing out. You're missing out on the NCAAs. You're missing out on winning state. You're missing out on competing. You're not missing out on the distractions. Those are there forever.
Right.
You can be 50 and still go be distracted if you want to. You don't ever have to live that life. I don't think that's the best way to live. I just think you're not missing out. And that was sometimes something that I worried about as a young kid. Like, oh, I'm young. I'm supposed to have a lot of fun in this stage of my life. If I don't, I'm going to regret it when I get older. I'm going to feel like I missed out. Well, now I'm older and I think I still can have fun, but I can't go back and accomplish what I wanted to accomplish again. And I just think you got to look at it that way, that you have a short window to accomplish these things. And then it's like you said, like, people cannot take that from me for the rest of my life, that I was All-American. If I was a national champ, they can never take it. They can never say it. Can never say you weren't. But I also can't ever go back and be a national champ now. I can't go back and, like, do those things, you know?
Right.
So I just think, like, it's a good way for you guys to think about, like, you're not missing out.
Right.
You're going to graduate college. It's going to be like tomorrow, dude. We're going to feel not that much older, and we're going to be sitting in here, and you guys are going to be laughing. You guys are going to be at Minion, coming back, doing a camp, and we're going to be laughing about how quick it goes, and then you guys are going to want to go play golf and hang out with your buddies and do different things, but your career is going to be over.
Right.
So then it's not, you know, you're fine, but you're either going to be a national champ or an All-American or somebody that gave it all they had in their college career, or you're going to be somebody with regrets.
Right.
There's only those two.
God.
There's only those two.
Crazy.
How many clips can we get in one episode?
So, no, I just think it's important, and I try and talk to Dallas about that, just because he's my little brother, and that's just my job to, like, mentor, and obviously we're brothers, so I'm super close with him where I can have those conversations, and yeah, it's a common, like, misconception to feel like you're missing out when you're young, but you're not,
Sure.
man.
Sure.
Wait, I have a question for you. What's your favorite Shawnee D moment?
Dude, moment?
Yeah, like something he's done. That's.
I bet there's probably one you guys aren't thinking of that I could say I bet is y'all's. Maybe Joe already knows what his is.
No, I already know.
I know what it is.
I know what Joe's gonna say.
I know what it is. It's at the freaking Fargo or first year of Ben Askren.
Yeah, Ben Askren versus
that's not
Shawnee
mine.
D. Oh, it's not?
Who even are you? I don't even know who you are.
Hey, chat, who do you guys got? Ben Askren or Shawnee D in a match?
I got Shawnee D.
Sean or Ben Askren.
I have two.
Okay.
All right, so one is when me and Ethan ganged up on you in dodgeball, and you already said you weren't having a great day already. I asked to go with you.
I remember that.
Because I like going with you, like drilling with you, and you were like, yeah, we'll see. You got mad at me and E, and you were like, no, we're going. You beat the shit out of me for an hour and 30 minutes, and it was to the point, I've never been like this against you, because it's like, okay, if you score on me, you're an All-American. I don't really give a shit. I was trying to stall so that you wouldn't score so many points on me. I was like, oh my God, this is awful.
I remember when he came in the car, dude. He was so pissed.
And then I was like, dude, Sean
he didn't let me get up.
I didn't even get a point. He didn't even give me a sympathy point. Like, what is this? And my other one was, you weren't there this practice. It was hilarious. We're going down the line, and I'm the only guy that's working hard in there from Sean's eyes. I didn't see it, but we're going down the line. We're all in the wall. He goes, I'm the first guy. He's like, all right, Joseph, tell me your goal. I was like, I want to be an NCAA champ. He's like, you're working at that pace. You could do it.
I think you told me about
some
this.
things, but you can do it. Then he goes to everybody else. Everybody else says their goals. He's a state champ. I want to wrestle D1. Not working hard enough.
I do remember that.
Not working hard enough.
Not working hard enough. Okay, you just told me your goal. I heard it. You ain't gonna achieve it because of your work ethic.
It was actually the funniest thing I ever seen, bro. It was like Kai. Kai was like, be a high school state champ. He's like, not gonna happen.
I didn't say not gonna happen, but I said,
dude, he's
yeah,
8.
you're not working hard enough for it right now. Yeah, I did.
Nope,
I did.
not gonna be you.
That one night, the dodgeball, I did feel really bad about that for about a week. And you guys
abuse.
got in my head rent free. Y'all were in my head about the way y'all ganged up on everybody in dodgeball. And I could not get you guys out. And y'all kept getting me down. Then y'all kept pointing at me and laughing at me. And I was like, I think I'm going to kill him, dude. Like, I think I'm really going to kill him.
I think there's only 2 times you've ever really gotten mad at me. And it was that time and the other time when we were messing around and then I just pulled guard on you and tried to start choking you out and you're like, dude, we're wrestling. What are you doing?
Yeah, you wanted me to tap and you actually were around my freaking windpipe and cut off all circulation to my head. And I'm like,
it's called a throat, Sean.
No, it's called what I say it's called right now. Yeah, you did. You cut off circulation to my brain. That made me a little bit mad. I guess I'm crazy for that, but the East Lansing Strangler. You know who that is?
No.
Nick Simmons. You ever watched any of his matches?
Nick Simmons?
Yeah.
No.
You should.
From where?
Was like a 6'1", 25-pounder, and he was like...
me.
Yeah, but he was a badass. He was a 3-time All-American for Michigan State. World team member. He was nasty, and he just inflicted pain on people.
They really called him the
out.
East Lansing Strangler.
Yeah, because he was from East Lansing or something.
Sick.
Yeah,
Can
it's
I
sick.
get something like that?
Yeah, we should.
Sick.
You're Slim Reaper. That's the coolest nickname ever.
That is tough.
That is sick.
Yeah.
But KD's already got it.
You need to get a scythe tattooed on you, bro.
Bro.
Get
Where?
a scythe tattooed on you. I don't know. Maybe going up your calf or something.
Do you have a shirt on?
Yeah.
Show them your sleeve, please. We talk about tattoos all the time on here.
You want me to really pop my top on you right now?
Okay.
You don't have to. Dude, I have gotten a call from somebody before. They asked me where I've wrestled. I say Sean Russell's my coach, and they remember your tattoo sleeve.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's sick.
It's pretty cool.
They remember
I
your
want something like that.
It is cool.
your David and Goliath tattoo.
That's my favorite one for sure.
Dude, that
First one
one's
I got.
sick.
That one's cool. Yeah. No, I do like that one. I do like that one.
That one's not my favorite.
Really? Which one's your favorite? Stop. Yeah.
Undisclosed.
Yeah.
Undisclosed.
We'll talk about that on the next one, chat. Don't worry.
Okay, well.
Next episode.
Segueing to the end here. Why Minion Training Center? For people around this area that would want to improve their wrestling to a higher level than just high school wrestling, why Minion?
Yeah, it's a good question. I guess I would start off by talking about why I started Minion, and that was for people that I felt like were like me, that grew up in the South and didn't have the access to high level wrestling training and knowledge. Like training, yes, but like weight cut knowledge, the stuff we were just talking about, mindset knowledge, all that stuff. And when I was coming through in Georgia, my dad busted his butt, took me to 4 different clubs, 4 different nights, took me to Pennsylvania every weekend for local tournaments so I could just wrestle those guys. He busted his butt, and it's still I went to college underprepared, just from a knowledge standpoint of what it took, not what it took from an effort perspective, but more technique and just how to become a high-level wrestler. It's something I think a lot of people in the South are deprived of, and there's not enough examples. There's not enough people that have come back and given back to that. There are people out there. I'm not saying there's no one. There are people, but there's not enough. And so when I got to Edinburgh and started, I was on a top 5 team in the country there, and I started learning what it was like to be a national champ. And then I transferred to Minnesota, and I got to learn what it was like to be an Olympic champ and those types of things. And then I got on the senior level and got to go spend time at the Olympic Training Center with Jordan Burroughs and David Taylor and Marsteller and all those guys, and learned how they think, what they eat, how they train, all those little details and stuff. And I just through that was I have got to go back to the South and open up a club where I can share this wisdom to people who have the drive that I had and just need the information. So I think anybody that's looking to like do something great in this sport and has like a deep love for it, Minion is the perfect place for you, because I'm here giving out the information on how you can be a world champion.
Yeah.
It's very possible for all of us. It's very possible for anybody. And wrestling is actually one of the only sports where no matter what your athletic ability or like the way you're shaped or how tall you are or how short you are or whatever it is, you can be a national champ. Like, I'm a very firm believer in that with wrestling.
Yeah.
Like, you can work hard enough and figure out your style to be really good. Can't say that with football, baseball, basketball, or other sports. So if you have a deep wrestling like passion and you live within 100 miles of Minion Training Center, get with us right now, and I promise I can take you to the next level.
Hell yeah, I think you're doing a great job.
Thank you, man.
I think you're doing a great job promoting it, getting it out there. I think it's growing. So make sure y'all go check out Minion. We'll leave it down in the bio.
Yeah, I was just going to say one more thing to segment off of Sean. I mean, I think Sean's the best coach in the country. I mean, I think results show that. And just to point out a couple guys real quick, just if you were thinking about checking out Minion, I'll just give you some results. Ethan, you hadn't been in the rankings, right?
19.
We saw. No, you haven't though. Before that.
Oh yeah.
Before that, Ethan hadn't been in the rankings. Started seeing Sean. Right, we've been together. Now he's 19th in the country. Gabe Swan, I don't think he had ever been in the rankings. He just won Fargo, arguably the hardest tournament in high school. John Stewart, also never been in the rankings. He has cracked the rankings a couple of times. And myself, I'd been in and out maybe a couple of times, and Sean has gotten me to top 3. So, I mean, I think just results show that, and I just wanted to share that. I mean, best coach in the country, results show it. So, yeah, man, get down there if you're thinking about it. And like he said, man, if you have passion for the sport, I mean, he's going to meet you halfway and make sure you're going to get to where you want to be. So,
Oh yeah.
Heck yeah. Thanks, boys. I appreciate you guys.
For sure.
Man.
Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for coming on.
Got y'all.
Check the bio. We'll check it. We'll put the website there. Maybe your phone number.
Yeah.
Depending.
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds good.
For sure. Go check it. Throw up the muse.